Greetings. Welcome to day 4 of the 31 Days of Tarot Challenge for 2019, which was given to us by F&E Dawn here on YouTube. I did mention when I started the challenge that I wasn't really sure if the challenge was going to be for me. I loved a lot of the questions, but I have to say the questions that came early in the challenge are really the hardest for me because I'm not a tarot collector. So I kind of stumbled through, if you watch my other videos, I kind of stumbled through trying to find some of my favorite card decks and oracle decks for last year. Tonight is the hardest question for me because this one asks the top 5 tarot books of 2018, ones that I either purchased or that were released in 2018. I have to tell you, I have no clue what tarot books are released in 2018 because I do not use tarot books. I really do not. I thought I had some in my cupboard, and I went in and searched in my cupboard that I might have had books for whatever reason, and I did find 3 books. I have to say, this is where it gets ugly because they're really not books that I'm recommending. So if you're looking for tarot books, a recommendation for tarot books, don't come here. Go away. Go away. But in the interest of trying to finish what I began when I began the challenge, I'm going to give you my little opinions about tarot decks in general. Tarot books in general, etc. And show you what I do have. And tell you, in a perfect world, this book might be good. The first book that I have is called Tarot, How to Read the Future by Fred Gettings. I don't know where this book came from. I really don't. But I do know why I have it because I'm looking at the back cover here, and these images on the back, well, even on the front, are images of a very early tarot deck that we used this book to make a game using tarot cards for the SCA, for our medieval studies group. There's been a lot of gaming was very popular during the Middle Ages, and gaming with cards was very popular during the Middle Ages. I have to say, though, my disappointment is I'm looking through the book. Of course, I can't be sure. But it kind of infers, at the beginning of this book, it kind of infers that tarot decks were used for divination during the Middle Ages. And I'm sorry if you believe that, but if you do believe that, please share your documentation with me, because the SCA is over 50 years old, and there have been people that do, the amount of research that is done among the members of the SCA into medieval studies is beyond belief. Beyond belief, seriously. The depth of study that we do for our different areas of interest, and we have yet to see anybody give evidence that tarot decks were used for divination purposes during the Middle Ages. Perhaps a little later, but not during the Middle Ages that we know of. It's inferred in this book when it says, the statements in the introduction of this book says, the 78 curious and compelling picture cards of the tarot pack provide a traditional and well-tested method of penetrating mysteries beyond knowledge. The tarot has fascinated people for centuries. The cards have been prized by magicians, linked with witchcraft, and condemned as heretical by medieval churchmen. They very well might have been condemned by medieval churchmen, but it was for gaming purposes. They did condemn a lot of things for gaming purposes. Just like playing cards, playing cards are used for divination purposes. But they really were not that was not the purpose in the beginning. They were used for games. Games were very, very popular. Again, if you have, and I'm not saying it's not possible, I just said if you do have documentation, research that proves that they were using them in the Middle Ages, I would really love to have that. That being said, this is a nice book. Other than that, it sort of implies some things that I didn't really care for, but it does have a lot of history of the images, the imagery in the cards, where it came from and where you see those images elsewhere. Like perhaps in carvings, wood carvings, or in stone carvings in, around churches or on mausoleums or whatever. Lots of the imagery has, it's very historically based, a lot of the images. So I do agree with that. So that being said, it's a nice book if you like if you're interested in like sort of the history of the pictures. Other than that, as a tarot reader, it's really not very. It's not really any. It's not. It doesn't pretend to be anything really for the tarot reader. So there's one book that I have. I don't know why, but I have it. The second book that I have, not sure why either. I have it. I think I got this perhaps at an SAA yard, kind of a basket sale, basket raffle or something, where people put things in there. This actually is The Pictorial Key to the Tarot by Arthur Edward Waite. And, it's wonderful because there's the imagery of the cards, and here it talks about the symbols in the cards. If you want to know what the cards are, here's the Devil card. It talks about the horned goat of Mendes with wings like those of a bat standing on the altar. At the pit of the stomach, there's the sign of Mercury. The right hand is upraised and extended, being the reverse of that benediction which is given by the Hierophant in the fifth card. In the left hand, there's the great flaming torch inverted towards the earth. A reversed pentagram is on the forehead. There's a ring in front of the altar from which 2 chains are carried to the necks of 2 figures, male and female. These are analogous. I don't know. With those of the fifth card, as if Adam and Eve after the fall. Hereof is the chain and fatality of the material life. It keeps going on and on about the figures, and any other symbols on the card. So it's very interesting. It's not a lot, it is the traditional symbols that we see in the Rider-Waite deck, of course. It gives the basis for why they have the symbols there. If you're interested, that's really good. That's a really good interest. But it's really no information that we cannot receive from the decks themselves, from any other source on the decks themselves. Most kind of common knowledge among tarot readers now what those symbols are. But anyway, this is it's a nice reference book if you wanted to have a little background on it. But other than that, it's not going to help you too much. It gives you keywords. It gives you some spreads. In the back. It has a pretty nice bibliography. Other than that, it's not going to help you read the tarot other than connecting with the symbols, if that helps you read the tarot, connecting with the symbols. Now, I have to say, my third book, I seem to have purchased this not too long ago. What is the year of this book? 2007. Okay, 2007. I can't imagine why I bought it, to be honest. But, I think maybe I was thinking of, people interested in learning to read the tarot. This might be a good solution for people new to the tarot that I could recommend. It is called 123 Tarot Answers in an Instant by Donald Tyson. You might have seen other people recommending this book. The book is, what I have to say is, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is. Everybody seems to be looking for a really quick way to learn to read the tarot. I don't know that there is a really quick way to learn to read Well, there might be a good way to learn to read it quickly. Memorizing keywords gives you a little heads up, a little advantage if you know some keywords, but really if only you know our keywords, you're really not going to learn to read it well. And this is kind of what this is showing in this book. It is saying, here's one. A lot of people have difficulty with the Hierophant. And the Hierophant, this is what they're trying to show you sentences using a simple sentence when you see the image in an upright position or in a reverse position. A sentence comes to your head, of course, would be if you can get the sentence, you should be able to make a reading, is what they're trying to say. I don't know, because here for the Hierophant, it has, it talks about the robed man wearing the triple crown of a religious leader, sitting between the stone pillars. In his left hand, he holds a triple cross. With his right hand, he makes the sign of the Trinity. Two priests kneel facing him at his feet. Between them is a pair of keys crossed to form an X. Okay, the general meaning is, according to the book, moral laws imposed by a higher power provide a useful framework for a healthy society, but they prohibit dissent through the application of severe censors. I'm kind of reading that sentence as blah, 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 blah. I don't know why. I feel like I'm too negative. I'm not trying to be negative. But this is the kind of thing, when we first look at a book, we open a little white book, a lot of people complain about it, and they see all these millions of keywords. Or these sentences, these obscure sentences, which just like blah, 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 blah. It doesn't really connect to us, really. And the effort here to try to make a sentence, they're looking at the upright value of the Hierophant, and they're saying, okay, words that are coming to mind would be rich, religion, ritual, orthodox beliefs, traditions, observance, rules, moral teachings, accepted beliefs. What is the difference between that and what we see on again, all these words? And they want to make a sentence, they would say, an upright sentence, authority. Then with a verb, you have the subject, you have authority, and the verb is teaches. And then with how do they teach? With certainty. In the reverse position, control, imposes with tolerance. Now, again, to me, I hate to bash it. I'm not trying to bash it. Somebody did a lot of work for the book. And for some people who have these kind of orderly brains, this might be just the ticket. It might be just a ticket. If you want the book, let me know. I think I'll send it to you. But I want to tell you, it doesn't seem to get you any further. Okay? If you look at the Lovers card and you look at their sentences that they suggest for you, affection unites with happiness. Affection warming the loving heart in admiration of grace and beauty. Is that really what we're looking for when we're trying to read a card? Because again, we're reading these cards, first of all, with this memorized mantra of each card, a meaning, some kind of wordage that really doesn't go much further than that simple little sentence. And remember, we want to look at the relationship of the cards with each other. We want to look at the position the cards are in the spread. We want to be able to, how does this card answer a question that the querent might have? What does it have to do with the question? Sometimes these cards don't, if you're just going to look at them individually, memorizing little keywords might be fine. But if you're going to look at them into a spread, this is not really the kind of book that's going to help you. I don't see a shortcut. Answers in an instant, 1, 2, 3 tarot giving you the skills you need to be a good reader. If you're going to be in a big hurry to be a reader, maybe you should try doing some other kind of divination that you can do a little quicker than tarot, because tarot does take some study. It does take some study to do it well. Anyway, I'm sorry about that. So what do I do? What do I do? I'm not giving up on books entirely. You know what I'm going to tell you now. If you've watched my channel at all, I'm going to tell you the best books that you can look at if trying to learn a new deck is the book that comes with the deck. It might be the simplest little thing. I'm looking at my Deviant Moon Tarot that I just got, and I'm telling you, this little book, it's just one of those little white books, right, that everybody talks about. The LWBs, I think they call them. Little white books, and it has some keywords in here, but more than that, it has a concept. It has like a concept, an idea that you can start looking at when you look at the deck. Okay, let's just pull a card. Just pull a card and see what we got. Okay, this is my deck, my card for the day, the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, now we know the Queen of Pentacles already. Excuse me. We know the Queen of Pentacles already, but what is the twist on the Deviant Moon? What does the Deviant Moon say about the Queen of Pentacles? Okay, so I looked in my little book today when I was looking at the card to see what is different about the Queen of Pentacles in the Deviant Moon than is in the regular Rider-Waite. Okay, and the description here is so simple, but it says so much. The gracious queen revels in her luxurious lifestyle. However, she is somewhat detached from the needs of her people. She shows her royal pentacle to an audience of dolls, mistakenly believing that society will benefit from this act of misplaced charity. I'm working with this deck for the month of January, kind of in a shadow study, right? And Queen of Pentacles is a really good card, positive card to get for people. You know, it's a card, you know, a success card normally. But I have been working really hard since right before the holidays to get ready to set myself off, pull myself away from my normal lifestyle, from my normal active activities that I do. I'm pulling back. I'm not attending everything. I'm not, you know, tomorrow is coronation and 12th night here in our kingdom, in the SEA. I'm not going. And my friend is stepping up to his queen, and I'm not going. I'm stepping back. I'm stepping back, and I'm working on what I need to do. This card is reminding me, am I separating too much? Be careful that you don't separate too much. Be careful that I'm not just giving lip service to people. Be careful that I'm not just giving people little token signs of affection instead of something really, you know, really connecting with people that mean a lot to me. Be careful that I don't, you know, that my success is not at the expense of others' happiness or at the expense of the relationship I have with other people. So this was a really good card, and I found all of that out in this little white book. If you watched my channel when I started on my journey with the Wild Wood, you will know that this is the first book that I really fell in love with. Of course, it's a lot bigger than the little white book that comes with most decks. But this book, when I had this deck for so long, years, until I actually got this book out and said, okay, I'm going to look at this stupid book. And I got the book out, and I started really reading, and I'm talking about, I read like Joe DeVal, like my husband, which I tease him all the time, because when he reads a book, he starts with the preface, he reads the introduction, he reads all these things, you know, and he doesn't just skip to the first chapter, which I do. I usually skip all this stuff in the beginning, and we have a little joke about that. So I thought, I'm going to read the book like Joe DeVal, and I'm going to come in here, and I read the preface, and I read the Wildwood Song preface by someone else. I read the introduction. I read all about the author growing up in Yorkshire, which really, you know, I've been to Yorkshire, so I was really excited about that. He talks about the deep, what's in the forest, what's he going to find in the forest, how this deck links with nature. Okay, what happens as we're going through the wildwood? What questions will be coming to mind as we go? How does it connect with the Wheel of the Year? How does it connect with the Wheel of the Year? My thing is the Wheel of the Year, right? All of this stuff, and then card by card we meet. Card by card we meet as we're going through. And then, after how many pages? 36 pages, then we get to the first of the cards. This book, and then there's a big explanation about each card and reading points, and it's mostly, it gives you something to think of. It gives you something to contemplate with each card. This was worth so much more because I had a little story with each card I could relate to. I couldn't get that kind of stuff out of a book like this. I would never, ever in a million years be able to read the Wildwood Tarot with this kind of a method. And I, again, apologize to the author. I don't mean to. This has its place, but not among somebody who really wants to read with depth in the reading. I showed you as one of my new decks that I got in 2018 that I'm going to be working with really hard this year. I said that the Mary Owl, this book, again, the book has, I'm gonna look at what does it say about each one of these cards. What is it going to say about each one of these cards? Here's the Four of Cups again, talking again about dreaming. No emotion or dream without cause or meaning. They're not random blossom, but meaningful windows and clues into that which the subconscious is dealing with. This is not just about pushing yourself away like the regular, like a Four of Cups. This is about, or being bored. This is about how you're not just wanting change, but how to know the change that you're going to have. How to know the change you're looking for. Basing on your dreams, talking about your emotions, really connecting with the cards. Okay, I don't want to go on and on. I just want to say good luck with you. And those of you who have good books that you want to recommend, oh bless you. And please, I am sorry, I didn't mean to offend anybody. Please just go on your way and ignore me. It's just an old woman and having a little bit of a rant, but please do not underestimate what is in these books. They're not your Bible. It's not the end all, right? It's not the end all. It's the beginning, but it's the beginning, especially with some of these newer decks that are coming out. You have to get into the emotion of the deck. You have to get into feeling the deck. And there's not one generic book that's going to help you do that. It's good. Remember I said, Santa Muerte? What did I get out of this book? I got the advice from the dead. What did the dead have to say to me? Couldn't get that out anywhere else. Anyway, that's all. I'm talking too much, and I have too many little prompts that I have to do. So anyway, thank you for watching. As always, I wish you blessings.